again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today I'm going back to talking about Kiss. It's been several times I don't know what the last Kiss episodes I did were, but I say that's it, there are no more Kiss records to talk about. And then there have been 2 or 3 times where I go, no, that's not true. I found another Kiss record to talk about, and that is the case again today. Today I'm going to talk about Killers. Some people say Kiss Killers. Just like you say Kiss Alive and Rainbow Rising. I guess when it's alliterative, you want to put them together. But it's not called Kiss Killers, it's just called Killers. And the reason that I'm going to talk about this today is because you may have seen a guy in recent videos, a friend of mine called Miguel, who I met or who knew me through this channel, through Dan Bowski. And he sent me a bunch of records in the mail about 2 years ago, I think about 10 records. And then he came to visit here in Mexico City year and a half ago, and he brought me some more records, and he was here recently and he brought me some more records, and this Killers was one of them. So I wanted to do that right away. I wanted to get to that, even though by the time there's a real backlog of videos. I've been doing a lot of videos, hiking, swimming, baseball games, El Chopo, so there's a backlog of I want to talk about this album. But I would like to do this to say thank you, Miguel, for giving me material to talk about, albums to talk about. So, Killers, and man, this is fly season. The flies are driving me crazy. I was sitting outside on my balcony. It sounds like the beginning of a Paul Stanley story. I was sitting outside of my balcony listening to this record, well, digitally on my phone. And this girl came up to me. No, she didn't come up to me, but I was listening to it outside, and I've tried to sit outside on my balcony in the last week, and just flies all over. And I was out for pizza yesterday afternoon, sitting outside, flies all over. Everywhere I go, there's just flies everywhere at this time of year. And so if you see me swatting them, that's why. So for me, this is a weird record. Some of you veterans of the channel may know that I've been listening to Kiss since 1976. I have never had Killers. I never bought it at any point. And there's something even more shocking than that. Not only did I never buy this at any point, never bought it on 8-track, never bought it on vinyl, never bought it on CD, cassette, anything, never bought it. I never heard, until today, the 4 new songs contained within this record. Never heard them today. I know I've known about them obviously all my life, or all of my Kiss fan life anyway. I don't know what, Nowhere to Run, Partners in Crime, I'm a Legend Tonight, and Down on Your Knees. I know the song titles because I never bought the record. And then during, when the YouTube era and streaming and everything, I think there were times where I thought, I should listen to those. And I just forgot or just didn't care. So in all these 49 years of Kiss fandom, I heard these 4 new songs today. And wow, I'm hearing 4 new Kiss songs today. And I'm pretty disappointed in these songs. I never hear any Kiss fans. I think these songs are not highly regarded in Kiss fan circles because I never really hear anybody talking about them or mentioning them in their lists of favorite this or whatever, or anything like that. So it was I don't know, a real surprise, a real treat for me to listen to the Kiss songs that I'd never heard before from the days of yore. Now, this is also, I think, the reason why I never bought it, and I'll show it. It's a weird record. So there's the color. Now, it is, I guess, really a compilation record. It's how many? It's 14 songs, 4 new songs. That means 10 of these were previously unreleased. It's not a greatest hits. I guess it's more accurate to say it's a compilation, but it's called Killers, which doesn't indicate that it's a compilation or greatest hits. The song choices are kind of weird. A couple of them are strange that they would put on a compilation. If you want to, sell a record to people, to introduce them to Kiss, I'm not sure if I would have agreed with several of these songs. And this was never, as far as I know, this was never released in North America. I think it was only released, maybe in Mexico it was released. But that was also, I guess, why I never got it. And it was always imported, and it was always expensive, and just never had any interest in it. And you can see here, the one that Miguel gave me, I kept it in the sleeve that he bought it in. This is a 1982 Japanese pressing, And expensive. Miguel is Daddy Warbucks. This was $40 US, which is pretty expensive. And I saw this at El Chopo a couple of months ago. I think it was 1,200 pesos, which is around $60, or maybe it was even a little bit more than that. So I guess, relatively speaking, that was a good price. Again, thank you, Miguel. And it's in incredible shape. I don't know if you can tell. Seriously, this looks like it's essentially brand new. It is pristine. Some would say mint. It's unbelievable how good the condition is of this record. And let me see what's inside. I remember, there's an insert. So the actual record, and I do, it is, I just love this, the Casablanca, the actual label on the records. I just love it. It just it gives me some nice warm feeling or something. Is it in there? All right, so I can put that back. And let me take a look at the insert here. So this is, okay, so it's all Japanese on this side and English lyrics on this side. I don't know if at this point if Kiss were putting lyrics in their records. Creatures of the Night did, which was 1982. This was 82. Creatures of the Night was also 82. This came out first. So this obviously came out probably in the first couple of months of the year, and I guess Creatures came out in the last months of the year. Anyway, so there it is. I have no idea what any of this says. It's probably just typical crap, talking about how great Kiss is and how big they are and all the other lies that Kiss perpetuated back then. And it all came crashing down around this time. All right, so I can, let me put that down. I'll put this insert back in. So, and I don't think I would have bought this if I had found it for $10 or something. But I never yearned for this record. Aside from, I'm very happy to have it just to kind of complete. I do need Sonic Boom. So if I have any more friends like Miguel who want to buy me records and then you come to visit Mexico, we can go out and hang around. Please feel free to pick up Sonic Boom. But I have no hopes for that. I know that's almost impossible to get for less than, I don't know, a couple $100, which just proves that price and quality don't always go hand in hand. But I'm happy to have this just to kind of complete the collection, and it's kind of cool. So I will go through this now. I did have to write notes for the 4 new songs because, as I said, I'd never heard them until today. It's amazing to think that. So I need both of this. I only obviously have. I will go through all the songs on here, including the hits or the compilation part of it. I need only the notes for the new songs. And they're in a kind of a strange position. So the first side of the record, the first 2 songs are new songs. Then the second side of the record, the first 2 songs are new songs. Very little Gene Simmons representation on this record. It's 14 songs. There's only 3 Gene songs. That's God of Thunder, Rock and Roll All Night, and Cold Gin. 3.5. Shout Out Loud is on here too. So, yeah, this is a real, overwhelmingly Paul Stanley record. Okay, so I'll go through I need my notes for the first 2 at this time, new songs. So the first one is called I'm a Legend Tonight. The song sucks. It's garbage. I didn't like it at all. It was kind of not quite pop, not quite hard rock. It was more hard rock than, obviously than Elder and Unmasked, the 2 albums that came before it. Not as hard rock as Creatures of the Night and Lick It Up, which came after it. But I didn't think it was a good song at all. The drums and the guitars I thought were very thin, very weak sounding, almost like a demo. Really, really, really didn't like I'm a Legend Tonight. Next was Down on Your Knees. This was a bit better. This is more what you would expect from Kiss back at this time. More in the hard rock vein, although it was probably also an early indication of what they would sound like, not on the next record, Creatures of the Night, or the next one, Lick It Up, maybe on Animalized, Asylum, Crazy Nights, Hot in the Shade, kind of like a mid to late 80s Kiss song. I thought Down on Your Knees sounded like. The vocal was great. Paul Stanley sounds great on this song. I have no idea. And really, I've talked about this before. I don't solicit comments. They're always welcome. But I really want to know. I don't see or hear anybody, Kiss fans, ever talk about these songs. I feel like this would be a favorite of the 4 new songs on this record. I feel like Down on Your Knees would be the one that people would like the most, because to me it sounds the most Kiss, what you would expect from Kiss. I don't think it's a great song. I'm not even sure if it's a good song, but it is more like a Kiss song. All right, now to go in the order of the record. So the next song is Cold Gin, and this is on the day, and this is the studio version. I've talked about this, I guess, in the past. Those first 3 Kiss albums, the first one, Hotter Than Hell and Dressed to Kill, I don't listen to them that much. All of the songs from those albums that appeared on Alive are much, much better than the studio versions, including Cold Gin. When I heard this today, and it came after I'm a Legend Tonight and Down Your Knees, it sounds kind of lethargic and kind of low energy compared to the version on Alive. I do love Cold Gin. It's obviously a great song, but to me, it sounds a little bit lethargic, a little bit slow, low energy. But I love Cold Gin on Alive. Next is Love Gun. This is just the studio version from the album Love Gun. I love any version of Love Gun. To me, is great. I do love the version on Alive too, or any live version. And the studio version, it's a classic Kiss song. I loved it as a kid. I maybe got bored of it at some point, but I think I've always loved Love Gun. Next is Shout Out Loud. I love Shout Out Loud, man. For me, I think I talked about this. I hope I talked about this. It's easy to compare this to Rock and Roll All Night. They're both anthems, and presumably were written intentionally as being, sing-along anthems. I think, and I assume I talked about this at some point, either when I did Alive 2 or when I did Destroyer, where Shout Out Loud is taken from. I think this is by far the best and the most definitive, these flies, the most definitive Kiss song. I love it. I love the Gene and Paul, each singing half a verse, the first one and the second. I love the changes between musically, the changes when Paul is singing, if you don't feel good, there's a way you could, don't sit there brokenhearted. And then when Gene comes in, the music changes too, even though it's almost like a second verse. It's almost like Paul sings a small verse, then Gene sings a small verse, or the verses are divided. I think Shout Out Loud is a fantastic song. Yeah, I'm sure there were times when I got bored of it. It's very anthemic, but Shout Out Loud is an amazing Kiss song. Next is Escape from the Island. When I was listening to this today, this came on, and I hadn't realized the track listing. There was two new songs to start side 1, and then 2 new songs to start side 2. And so Escape from the Island came on. I thought, okay, this is another one of the new songs. Didn't recognize it at all. And then I realized there were no vocals. And I thought, what the hell is this? And I thought maybe it was a new song that didn't have vocals. And I looked on my phone. I saw it was Escape from the Island. And then I remembered that Escape from the Island is from the lousy, terrible, awful Music from the Elder album. Why would they? I don't know what the thought process is. They were trying to put something on here, I guess, from The Elder, which was only the year prior, the calendar year prior to this, 1981. This was 1982. I would think if you want to sell, if you're maybe trying to go back and then get people interested in Music from the Elder again, Escape from the Island is not a good choice. I don't know if there's any song from that album that is a good choice. At least maybe or something that is more up-tempo or not an instrumental. But Escape from the Island, couldn't care less about that song. And the last one on side 1 is Sure Know Something. I love Sure Know Something. It's my favorite song on Dynasty. I always liked it, but it was after the unplugged version in 1995. Well, it was recorded in 95, came out in 96. That unplugged version really made me realize how much I loved the studio version, the original version of Sure Know Something. There were a couple of other ones like that. I think Coming Home, maybe Plaster Caster, some of the kind of deeper cuts that they never really played live. Those also maybe See It Tonight, and the songs that Kiss never really played. A lot of those really rekindle my love for the original versions. Sure Know Something maybe more than the other ones. I love the studio version. I love the unplugged version. Sure Know Something is a fantastic song. Very indicative of what, Paul Stanley's solo album, I think, was indicative of what you were going to get when Dynasty came out and Sure Know Something. In other words, Sure Know Something to me sounds like it could have been on Paul Stanley's 1978 solo album. All right, side 2 or side B of this record. I need the notes here because it's another new song, Nowhere to Run. What did I say about Nowhere to Run? Oh, the first 20 or 30 seconds of this until the vocal comes in. Maybe it's just because I'm in this mode, but it totally reminded me of The Who. It sounded like it could be a Who song. That doesn't mean it's good because I didn't really like this song either. Not as bad as I'm a Legend Tonight, but and again, it sounds like just like Down on Your Knees. It sounded like what Kiss would sound like in the mid to late 80s. Not a very good song, I don't think. Nowhere to Run. And then the next one is the last one, the fourth one of the 4 new songs that were on this record, called Partners in Crime. The very introduction, it totally sounds like Lick It Up. For like 1.5, maybe 2 seconds, really sounds like Lick It Up. So kind of a preview maybe, because Lick It Up came out the year after this, in 83. 100%, totally like Lick It Up. Just the first second or so. And I thought also the vocal melody was very reminiscent of All American Man. I'm a 6-foot hot look, All American Man. Just the vocal melody, the vocal delivery of Partners in Crime sounded like All American Man. One of the studio tracks from Alive 2. All right. Next, now we're back to the old songs. Detroit Rock City. Detroit Rock City is a classic Kiss song. Tired of it, but I can't say anything bad about Detroit Rock City. The intro, the Pontiac, Michigan youth who was killed in a car accident you're hearing the news report over breakfast. That is not included here. It's just the song. Love Detroit Rock City. Next is God of Thunder. You know what? God of Thunder, I hate overrated, underrated. To me, God of Thunder is overrated. I never loved God of Thunder. It's fine, but of the classic Kiss, from those first 6 studio albums, God of Thunder for me is, it's not my least favorite, but it's much closer to the bottom than the top. And also it doesn't have the introduction. Okay, the kids, I guess it's Bob Ezrin's kids. So three songs from Destroyer, Shout Out Loud, Detroit Rock City, and God of Thunder. And also it seems, I love the live version. I think the live version on Live 2 is way better. It's just more energetic, a little bit faster. This version, the studio version, is a little bit plodding, a little bit slow. Next is I Was Made for Loving You. And I thought on Dynasty, it was I Was Made for Lovin' with apostrophe and missing the G, and it was. So this is I Was Made for Loving You. I like I Was Made for Loving You. I never had a problem with it. It's another one that I maybe got sick of, and I know it's not it doesn't represent what Kiss really was as a hard rock band, but I like I Was Made for Loving You. Next is Shandy, kind of the same thing. Shandy, I like I Was Made for Loving You more than Shandy, but I like Shandy too. You may have seen me singing to Shandy in an episode that Mr. Randy donated for me to sing Shandy, and that was kind of fun. But I like Shandy, it's okay. Strange though, as I said, the choice of songs. I'm not sure why they put Shandy on here. And then the last song is Rock and Roll All Night. This seems like it was kind of lazily put together, or just maybe not too much attention to detail, that I noticed some things. So just like the G was added here instead of I Was Loving You with apostrophe. Rock and Roll All Night, I don't know why, but the original on Dress to Kill, and then also on Live, Night, for some reason, was spelled N-I-T-E. Here it's spelled N-I-G-H-T. A little bit of inconsistency there. And it is the version from Alive, which to me is the best version, as any versions. Any of the songs on Alive 2, those are the definitive versions of those songs. And that's it. And produced by Michael James Jackson, who I know produced Lick It Up, and I think produced Creatures of the Night, which is the next record. At least that's the 4 new songs that were produced by Michael James Jackson. And then the other ones they're credited to the producer from the original album, which they were taken from. All right, so that's it. Strange that they did this. I'm not sure. This must have been, back then, obviously the music industry was, I think there's a fly flying around the lens. It might have just flown on the lens. I can see it right beside the lens. I don't know, this was maybe just a promotional thing to keep Kiss in people's, to keep them in the public eye. Maybe it was the shift going from, because these 4 songs, I'm a Legend Tonight, Down on Your Knees, Partners in Crime, and Nowhere to Run, they're more hard rock than definitely the previous 2, maybe even the previous 3 albums, Elder, Unmasked, and Dynasty. Maybe they said, you know what, our next album, Creatures of the Night, is going to be a little bit heavier, more hard rock, so we want to give you a little taste of that. Maybe this would have been, or maybe had more of an impact. If it had been an EP, like a 4-song EP, maybe this album would have been more beloved, but it was kind of weird that they made it as a compilation / 4 new songs, which they kind of did again with Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, although that was just 2 new songs. 2 of possibly the worst Kiss songs ever. You Make Me Rock Hard, and let's put the X in Sex. Just crap, complete crap. All right, so that's it. And I do have, I'm not going to say no more Kiss, because I did remember there is one more Kiss record that I kind of forgot about that I do have in my collection over here. Place your bets if you think you know what it is. It's not going to be the next episode. It might not even be in the next couple weeks or the next couple of months. But when I'm feeling it, I will do another Kiss record. I do have one more, and then I know what's going to happen after that. But thank you for watching, and this was the kind of weird... I'm happy to have it in my collection. Thank you again to Miguel. But it's a weird album, and it's Kiss. It's by Kiss, and it's called Killers.